Hello, boys and girls. Miss Terry invited me to the library. And I'm going to take my mask off because it's just you and me here reading this book together. And Miss Terry reminded me that this week it is Dr. Seuss's birthday. So she invited me to be a guest reader in the library and to read you a book about the Lorax. This is the Lorax. We're going to see what happens. You see, I have all of my Dr. Seuss friends with me here. They're listening too, just like you are. Okay. The Lorax by Dr. Seuss. At the far end of town, where the grickle grass grows and the wind smells slow and sour when it blows, and no birds ever sing excepting old crows, is the street of the lifted Lorax. See, this little boy is going to see. That's what that street is. And deep in the grickle grass, some people say, if you look deep enough, you can still see today where the Lorax once stood, just as long as it could before somebody lifted the Lorax away. That's where he used to stand. What was the Lorax? And why was it there? And why was it lifted and taken somewhere? From the far end of town where the grickle grass grows, the old Onceler still lives here. There's his house. Ask him. He knows. That's the Onceler's house. We're going to see if he's in there. Okay. You won't see the Onceler. Don't knock at his door. Don't knock at his door. He stays in his lurkim on top of his store. He lurks in his lurkim cold under the roof where he makes his own clothes out of myth-muffered moof. And on special dank midnights in August, he peeks out of the shutters, and sometimes he speaks and tells how the Lorax was lifted away. He'll tell you, perhaps, if you're willing to pay. Oh no, what are we going to have to pay? Hear about this. At the end of a rope, he lets down a pail, and you have to toss in 15 cents and a nail and the shell of a great, great, great grandfather snail. I don't know if I have one of those, but this little boy does in this book. Then he pulls up the pail, makes a most careful count to see if you've paid him the proper amount. Then he grunts, I will call you by whispermaphone, for the secrets I tell are for your ears alone. There he is. You can see his eyes. Sloop. Down sloops the whispermaphone to your ear, and the old Onceler's whispers are not very clear, since they have to come down through a snurgly hose, and he sounds as if he had smallish bees up his nose. Now I'll tell you, he said, with his teeth sounding gray, how the Lorax got lifted and taken away. It all started way back, such a long, long time back. Okay, let's see. Way back in the days when the grass was still green, and the pond was still wet, and the clouds were still clean, and the song of the swoomy swans rang out in space. One morning I came to this glorious place. And I first saw the trees, the truffula trees, the bright-colored tufts of the truffula trees. You see them? There they are. A mile after mile in the fresh morning breeze. Looks like a happy place. And under the trees I saw brown barbaloos, frisking about in their barbaloots, frisking about in their barbaloot suits as they played in the shade and ate truffula fruits. Yum. From the rippleless pond came the comfortable sound of the humming fish humming while splashing around. They look happy too. But those trees, those truffula trees. All my life I'd been searching for trees such as these. The touch of their tufts was much softer than silk, and they had the sweet smell of butterfly milk. I felt a great leaping of joy in my heart. I knew just what I'd do. I unloaded my cart. Look, there's all his stuff coming out of the Onceler's cart. In no time at all, I had built a small shop. Then I chopped down a truffula tree with one chop. And with great skillful skill and with great speedy speed, I took the soft tuft and I knitted a thneed. You see that? That's a thneed. The instant I'd finished, I heard a gazump. I looked. I saw something pop out of the stump of the tree I chopped down. It was sort of a man. Describe him. That's hard. I don't know if I can. He was shortish and oldish and brownish and mossy, and he spoke with a voice that was sharpish and bossy. That's what came out of the stump. Mister, he said with a sawdusty sneeze, I am the Lorax. I speak for the trees. I speak for the trees have no tongues. And I'm asking you, sir, at the top of my lungs. He was very upset as he shouted and puffed. What's that thing you've made out of my truffula tuft? Look, Lorax, I said, there's no cause for alarm. I chopped just one tree. I am doing no harm. I'm being quite useful. This thing is a thneed. A thneed's a fine something that all people need. It's a shirt. It's a sock. It's a glove. It's a hat. But it has other uses far beyond that. You can use it for carpets, for pillows, for sheets, or curtains, or covers for bicycle seats. The Lorax said, Sir, you are crazy with greed. There is no one on earth who would buy that silly thneed. But the very next minute, I proved he was wrong. For just at that minute, a chap came along, and he thought that the thneed I had knitted was great, and he happily bought it for $3.98. I repeat, cried the Lorax, I speak for the trees. I'm busy, I told him. Be quiet, if you please. He's not listening. And in no time at all, in the factory I built, the whole Onceler family was working full tilt. There's the factory, they're making thneeds. We were all knitting thneeds, just as busy as bees, to the sound of the chopping of truffula trees. See, those are the places where the truffula trees were. And they're taking them into the factory. Then, oh baby, oh how my business did grow. Now, chopping one tree at a time was too slow. So I quickly invented my super axe hacker, which whacked off 4 truffula trees in one smacker. Look, 1, 2, 3, 4. We were making thneeds 4 times as fast as before, and that Lorax, he didn't show up anymore. He's not there anymore. Uh-oh. But the next week, he knocked on my new office door. He snapped, "I am the Lorax. I speak for the trees, which you seem to be chopping as fast as you please. But I'm also in charge of the brown barbaloots, who played in the shade in their barbaloot suits and happily lived eating truffula fruits. Now, thanks to your hacking the trees to the ground, there's not enough truffula fruit to go around. And my poor barbaloots are all getting the crummies because they have gas and no food in their tummies." Look how sad they are, those barbaloots. They need their truffula fruits. Oh dear. They loved living here, but I can't let them stay. They'll have to find food, and I hope that they may. "Good luck, boys," he cried, and he sent them away. I, the Onceler, felt sad as I watched them all go. Look, they're going away to find food to eat. But business is business, and business must grow, regardless of crummies in tummies, you know. I meant no harm. I most truly did not. But I had to grow bigger, so bigger I got. And I went right on biggering, selling more thneeds, and I biggered my money, which everyone needs. Uh-oh. And again, he came back. Look, the Lorax came back. I was fixing some pipes when that old nuisance Lorax came in with more gripes. "I am the Lorax." He coughed and he whiffed and he sneezed and he snuffled, he snargled, he sniffed. "Onceler," he cried with a cruffulous croak, "Onceler, you're making such smogulous smoke." My poor swami swans, why they can't sing a note. No one can sing with that smog in their throat. Look, the factory's making too much smoke, and they're sad. They can't sing. "And so," said the Lorax, "please pardon my cough. They cannot live here, so I'm sending them off. Where will they go? I don't hopefully know. They may have to fly for a month or a year to escape from the smog you've smogged up around here." Look, the purple smog. No barbaloots. They have to fly away. "What's more," snapped the Lorax, his dander was up, "let me say a few words about gluppity glup. Your machinery chugs on day and night without stop, making gluppity glup. Also sloppity slop. And what do you do with this leftover goo? I'll show you, you dirty old Onceler man, you." Oh no. What was the goo gonna do? Not good. Not anything good, I think. "You're glumping the pond where the humming fish hummed. No more can they hum, for their gills are all gummed. So I'm sending them off. Oh, their future is dreary. They'll walk on their fins and get woefully weary in search of some water that isn't so smeary. I hear things are just as bad up in Lake Erie." Now the fish are going to have to go away too. And then I got mad. I got terribly mad. I yelled at the Lorax, "Now listen here, Dad. All you do is yap, yap, and say, bad, 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 bad." "Well, I have my rights, sir, and I'm telling you, I intend to go doing just what I do. And for your information, you Lorax, I'm figuring on biggering and biggering and biggering and biggering, turning more truffle trees into thneeds, which everyone needs." I'm not seeing very many trees out there. Let's see what happens. And then, at that very moment, we heard a loud whack. From inside the fields came a sickening smack. Oh no. Of an axe on a tree. We heard the tree fall, the very last truffle tree of them all. They're all gone. That's the last one. No more trees, no more thneeds, no more work to be done. So in no time, my uncles and aunts, every one, all waved me goodbye. They jumped into my cars and drove away under the smoke-smuggered stars. Now they're leaving. No more trees. Now, all that was left, 'neath the bad-smelling sky, was my big empty factory, the Lorax, there he is, and I. The Lorax said nothing, just gave me a glance, just gave me a very sad backwards glance as he lifted himself by the seat of his pants. Look, you can see. And I'll never forget the grim look on his face. That's a very serious, sad look. Grim look on his face when he hoisted himself and took leave of this place through a hole in the smog without leaving a trace. So he went out through that hole in all the smog from the Thneed factory. Bye-bye, Lorax. And all that the Lorax left here in this mess was a small pile of rocks with one word, unless. Whatever that meant, I just couldn't guess. That was long, long ago. But each day since that day, I've sat here and worried away. Through the years while my buildings have fallen apart, I've worried about it with all of my heart. But now, says the Onceler, now that you're here, the word of the Lorax sounds perfectly clear. Unless someone like you, who cares an whole awful lot, nothing is going to get better. It's not. Look, there he is. He's standing where the Lorax stood. So, look carefully. What's that? Catch, calls the Onceler. He lets something fall. It's a truffle seed. It's the last one of all. You're in charge of the last of the truffle seeds. And truffle trees are what everyone needs. Plant a new truffle. Treat it with care. Give it clean water and feed it fresh air. Grow a forest. Protect it from axes that hack. Then the Lorax and all of his friends may come back. And that's the end. I think this little boy is going to take that truffle seed and plant a truffula tree. And then maybe the Lorax and all his friends can come back. If you had a truffula seed, where do you think you might plant it? And what would you do to take care of it? It's something to think about. And that is the story of the Lorax. Thank you, Miss Terry, for letting me visit the library with the truffula trees here. Thanks, everybody, for listening.